Hey there, it's Michelle Martin Dobbins with dailyalchemy.com, and today I want to talk to you about what percentage you are. And that seems kind of odd, but I want you to think about what percentage of your life is focused on the positive thoughts or focused on what you want versus what you don't want. I get a lot of email messages from people who say, hey, I wrote this affirmation 100 times for 10 days and nothing happens. This doesn't work for me. And that's not how spiritual growth and the law of attraction works. And sometimes if you focus on a thing in a really random way, you can still see that thing. Like if you're focusing on blue cars, you can see blue cars all the time. But if you really want to change your life and you want to be happy, and bring things into your life that you want to experience, first you have to have the feeling of having that first. So my goal is to help you be happy and focused on what's good in your life more of the time. And sometimes affirmations can help you do that. Meditation can definitely help you do that. There are lots of things that can help you do that. But the truth of the matter is you want to get to that tipping point. Nobody's positive all the time. We all have down moments. We all have down days. And we all have things that happen in our lives that are really hard to deal with. I totally get that. But if you want to change your life and if you want to have a happier life, right? Because that's what we all really want. You might want a better job. You might want a nicer house. You might want, more money. But whatever you want it because it's going to make you happier. So we have to get happier now. And when we start focusing on what we have, we usually find out that we have a lot more than we were really focusing on, that we were taking for granted. There are so many things. I don't know about you, but I'm assuming you probably have a nice refrigerator that keeps your food cold. I'm assuming that you have shelter. I'm assuming that you turn on the sink and water comes out like magic. I know it's not magic, but it kind of is. I mean, compared to some places in the world that don't have that in the years past, where that was just like having water and having food, we have that. There's so much positive to focus on. I mean, that's tiny tip of the iceberg. And if you're watching this, you have internet service. You can, oh my gosh, look at all the information and learning that you can get your hands on, mostly for free. I mean, you can go to YouTube and you can learn about all kinds of stuff. You can just put in a search in Google and find things out. If that's not magic, how lucky are we? How amazed would people 200 years ago been to see the technology that we have? It's mind-boggling. But some of us still want to focus on everything that's bad. I know there was a comedian, I can't remember who he was talking about like people complaining in an airplane about the Wi-Fi not working. He was like, dude, you're in a box in the air traveling quickly from one place to another, which people like traveled out west and couldn't even survive the harsh winters, and it took them months and months and months if they made it. You're doing it in 3 hours and you're worried about Wi-Fi? Come on. And I don't tell you this to lower your expectations. I just tell you this to open up with gratitude for everything you have and to focus on your whole day. Your whole day. See what percentage you can have in a day of focusing on what's good. Because if you do a spiritual practice in the morning and then you go out all day and focus on what's bad and what's wrong and what's not there, and then you do another spiritual practice at night, and then, every little bit helps, but you have to create that tipping point where more of your time is spent on focusing on what's good, focusing on where you're going, focusing on what's already wonderful in your life to make a huge change. That's why I call my site Daily Alchemy, because it's certainly not because I update it daily. That doesn't happen. But for me, spiritual growth, spiritual practice, the law of attraction has to fit into my daily life. So that's what I do. I break it down, and like sometimes I've taken classes and I've learned like 50-part meditations. That's not happening right now for me in my world. I have 4 kids. I run 2 businesses. I have a dog that needs walking. But do I meditate every day? Yes, I do. And I do it in simple ways that get great results for me. Do I do affirmations? Do I work on mindfulness every day? Yes. And I don't want to just like, my spiritual practice is not first thing in the morning and last thing at night or just when I'm doing that. It's a total shift of mindset. It's tipping those scales. And I know if you're in that place where you haven't tipped those scales yet and your life isn't mostly happy, I've been there. I suffered from depression and anxiety for my teenage years, my early 20s, which is why I sought a spiritual path. And it was, I'm going to be honest, it was work to change my thinking. But guess what? It was worth it. It was so worth it. And it doesn't, things in your life and the way you feel doesn't change overnight. But it is worth it to take each day and to engineer your day in such a way that you're mindful as much as you can during the day, you're focused on what's good during the day, and you put in enough spiritual practice to keep you focused that way. You don't have to sit and meditate for hours a day. You don't have to sit and write thousands of affirmations a day. Take one or two easy practices that work for you and then spend the rest of your day being really mindful, really thankful, really focused on what is already good and what already makes you feel happy. What is there to be happy about today? And if you say nothing, I don't believe you. You need to look a little harder. I know that everybody who's watching this could make a list of at least 100 things to be happy about. And if you can't, you're not looking at the small little miracles in your life, like turning on a faucet and getting water, or going to a fridge and having cold food, or having a stove where you can heat up your food with a touch of a button. I mean, there's so much, because I'm just talking about what we consider basics right now, right? Like what we consider basics are wonderful. So this is my challenge to you. Up your percent. Especially if you think you're less than 50%, up it, because you don't have to be perfect. Once you start getting up to 50%, things start getting better. When you get to 60%, things get even better. When you get to 70%, they get even better. And I don't know that anybody ever gets to 100%. I'm sure there are a few people, a few of the masters, but get as high as you can, and don't think that you can skip from 30 to 100. Just keep adding more to your day every day. And as you do that, it gets easier and easier to do. Life gets better. You get happier. And it just makes life more magic. You end up seeing synchronicities and changes. And that's basically what the law of attraction is, because you attract what you are, not what you want. So you have to become that person who you would expect good things to happen to, because they're living in that energy. So I want you to add as many minutes of that energy to your day as you can, and let me know how it works for you. But I already know how it works. If you do it, it works. It takes some time, and sometimes there's a buffer of time, so don't get frustrated. But just keep focusing back on what is good and up your percent. And when you start tipping those scales, you will see magic in your life. I promise you. So go out today, focus on what's good, create some magic, enjoy the journey, and I'll see you next time. Namaste and big hugs.